What up, guys? What up? What up? I am Lou. Guys, today we're going to be talking about why, again, very key, why you should learn SQL. At least at the minimum, the fundamentals of SQL. And we're going to talk about, well, what is SQL? But the main purpose here is why you should learn it. If you do not know it, why you should learn, even if you're a software developer, right? If you're a software developer, because there's pretty much the majority of the apps that are out there today connect to some sort of database, whether it be a NoSQL database, a relational database, data warehouse. It doesn't matter, man. The majority of applications are connecting to something because you're dealing with data. All right, so because of that, it's a must to know. But before we get started, guys, go ahead and hit that like button, give me a follow. Like always, guys, appreciate it. And let's get started, guys. Why should you learn SQL? And again, kind of what I just mentioned a few seconds ago. So if you're a software developer, let's say you build web apps, for example. Well, that app that you're building, right, needs to connect to some sort of most likely database on the back end. And a lot of systems nowadays, especially complex systems, you're dealing with probably multiple data sources for one, but you're dealing with different database types. Like you may be dealing with a NoSQL database, but also dealing with a relational database as well. Like you there's a good chance that you will be dealing with both databases. Um, and again, even though if you're a software developer, you may think, well, I don't really need to know. That's the DBA's responsibility, right? Let the database guys deal with that. I just need to connect to it and, to be able to access the data. I get that, right? But you should, in my opinion, right, you should know at least the fundamentals of databasing. Even if you're not going to be in there, you don't want to be, I'm not saying you got to be an expert at it. That's not what I mean. But dude, it's very beneficial, in my opinion, to know how that piece operates. And even if it's all you're going to be doing is very basic activities, right? Transactions, which may be select, update, and delete, perhaps, right? That's all you're doing to the front end. I feel it's very beneficial to at least, again, get familiar with it, man. Know the core fundamentals of databasing, the SQL language. There will be times that you may need to get in and create some raw SQL, and in order to build something that's optimized, you should learn the language to some degree, anyways. Now, if you happen to be a data guy, like without no question at all, you must know SQL, man. If you're a data analyst, for me, that's like a no-brainer, dude. I still see it today, and it still happens today, where you may have somebody who's a analyst, right? Some sort of analyst. And then, so because you're an analyst, you're dealing with data. Maybe you're dealing with pharmacy data. Maybe you're dealing with logistics data. All the different data that you're dealing with, social media data, whatever it is. But ultimately, you're going to consume that data to analyze. If you're in that role, like with no question, dude, SQL is a must. Like, and I don't mean just like the very basic fundamentals. Again, not saying you gotta be DBA. That's not what I mean. But you really should know how to query data. You should really know how to build tables at the minimum, because there may be projects that you work on where you're taking CSV data, and it makes sense in those cases to load it to a database, a relational database, for example, to upload that data into a database. So in order to do that, you want to learn some of the basic fundamentals when it comes to creating tables, when it comes to indexing tables. Again, if you're loading a file and maybe has 100 million rows on that CSV file, you want to be able to index these columns on that table in order to increase performance as you query that data and things of that nature, right? Like that's where I feel it becomes very beneficial, dude. I feel a lot of people that are analysts do not know that to that degree, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they don't know it, because in my mind, if you did know it, it takes you to this whole nother level, dude. Like it really stands you out from your competition. it really puts you in this whole nother level. You'll know, you will realize that as an analyst that when it comes to working on certain projects, it becomes way more easier to query some of the your data sets by doing it. Again, if in that scenario, maybe it requires it, maybe it makes sense to do that scenario where you're dealing with all these different data sources, and maybe it makes sense. You know what? Let's load it to a database for the purpose of being able to run some queries against it and do some data profiling and things of that nature. And it just helps out, man. Like for real, it really does, man. Like, so there's no um again, if you're working with data, if you're some sort of data analyst, data engineer, dude, it's a must, dude. Like, no, I don't care what anybody says, you have to. You really should become very decent or good with databases. You should know about procedures. You should know how to create views. You should know how to create tables. You should know how to do indexing, at least from that aspect of it, anyways, right? There's other more advanced stuff that maybe you don't need to, but at least some of those things that I mentioned, you should know, man. You really, really should. And again, going back, man, you're a software guy, you're a software developer, your web apps, desktop apps, things of that nature. You're dealing with data, man. You really are. I get it with ORMs. You're like, oh, I connect to the ORM, and you don't, whether you realize it or not. Pretty sure you realize it, but whether you understand the mechanics or not, it's creating these statements on the back end to update or to delete or to insert. But there's benefit, man, to like get familiar with how that works, because there may be cases, some use cases where it may require custom SQL, and that's where if you're not familiar with SQL, you're gonna be stuck, man. You have to rely on somebody else. At least if you understand that aspect of it, it helps out. Also, you're dealing with large data sets, understanding SQL, like indexing, things of that nature, right? That would help out too if you have bottlenecks, if you have performance issues. Because again, one of the things that I feel when you have an application that of course connects to a database, there's a good chance that your database is going to be the bottleneck first before the actual language that you coded your application on, right? You could get many requests coming in through the web service, and then what happens is the bottleneck could be the database. It's just taking too long, maybe taking a few seconds for each request, which is too long if you're getting thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of requests per minute type deal. So again, becomes very beneficial to identify some of these bugs that will come up when you're dealing with performance issues that are database related. So again, man, that's just my 2 cents on that, but that's the reason why you should learn SQL to some degree, man. So if nobody's teaching you yet, or if you work somewhere where maybe you feel like, I really haven't had a need to really know it, I get it, man. There may be some scenarios, but in general, I feel like it's a must. If you're a software developer, learn the basics, at least the fundamentals. If you're a data guy, a data analyst of some sort, dude, that's a must. Like, really learn it, man. And because I'm telling you, a lot of people do not know it. And what happened is they're doing things in Excel and just doing all these formulas. And then, of course, you have the limitations in Excel when you're dealing with big data sets. You can only deal with small data sets. Because I've seen it, dude. I've seen it firsthand. And if you know Excel, dude, I'm not Excel, SQL. You're gonna stand out from the crowd. You really are, man. Especially when you see that your colleagues are all trying to do everything in Access, Microsoft Access, or in Excel, and then you come in like, dude, I'll do it in SQL. I mean, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna be the rock star. It's gonna help you out big time, dude. Really, it really is, man. It really is. So that's again my 2 cents. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight on why you should learn SQL. Also, guys, I'm going to be making a lot more content related to SQL in general. Procedures, views, creating tables, indexing, things like that. So those of you who are new that want to learn that, I'm going to be making videos kind of going over that in more details, and hopefully that helps you out. All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Again, give me a follow, give me a like, and peace.